right, welcome back, everyone. A lot to digest, a lot to learn so far, and we're going to kind of bring it all together and accelerate the depth of what we've been talking about here as we really get into some rubber hitting the road today, some actual trading concepts and whatnot as we start to put all this together and really talk trading. So, some conversations with students brought about a reminder that I should add something to the course here. Absorption, phases of absorption. Some really nice conversations in the community about absorption lately. Um, now, I'll start off with saying this. I think this is pretty important. Absorption is one of the least interesting or useful parts of order flow, in my opinion, the way I trade. So I would not get super into absorption. I would not overly focus your efforts initially and all the order flow skills and learning that you need to do. I would not recommend going down the path of absorption. Yeah, we can see when it's there. It tells us that it's happening. It's one of the least useful signals, in my opinion. Let's talk about the phases of absorption and how to handle it, because I saw, again, some questions around that. Number one, a quick refresher. Let's say that price puts in a little lower high like that, right? And let's say that delta looks like this. Normal, normal, not normal, right? Relative to the price movement. Big move, right? Big move compared to little move. So trying really hard in terms of the delta, but not getting price movement, normal price movement. There's phases to this in terms of implications. What might that be? Phase one, I forget how I tend to teach this, so forgive me if it's slightly different. But phase one, I'm going to just start with normalcy. If that's even a real word, let's just call it normal. And that is, what do we do with delta? We tend to go with, let's use the appropriate word here, aggressiveness, which we often refer to as strength. Because that's typically what moves markets. That's what we define as normal. Step two is we identify absorption occurring. And by the way, a quick little thing on nomenclature that's important for talking about absorption is that in this case, it's important to say that sellers, in this example, right, where you're really pushing, buying and not getting the movement because of passive sellers. Sellers, they are the ones absorbing. Buyers are being absorbed. Just some quick nomenclature there. So back to our phases. Everything's normal. We like to go with strength. In this case of initially seeing this exact example here of this strong push and this lack of resulting price movement, we would shift. So this is really kind of, I think, perhaps how I taught it before, is the first phase of absorption. We shift our order flow use. We are now essentially anti-strength, anti-aggressive, going with the aggressive participant, right? Because a new player has showed up and they are more powerful. They are more dominant than this really aggressive collection of buyers in this case. So we want to go with, let's just call it dominance, right? Rather than going with the order flow strength, the order flow aggressiveness being the key word. That's the implication of absorption. Hey, passive seller showed up here. We might prefer to be short in terms of near-term directional bias resulting from this absorption read. That's what it gives to us. If, continuing on, let's just get back to the right color. If the trapped aggressive participants are not squeezed, what is squeezed out? Stopped out. Think about it. What happens to the inventory dynamic, in a sense, when all these impatient, right? The aggressive people are impatient. They're the ones reaching across the boundaries of bid and ask to get something done because they need it done. If people are really, really excited about, let's say they think the market's going up and they're buying, 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 and all of a sudden we don't see them squeezed out. We don't see price kind of turn and delta kind of reverse all that built potential theoretical inventory. We don't see that happen in the next rotation or two. Then we need to shift again, right? So it's really phase 0 is just normalcy. Phase 1 is when we first identify. And then we go to kind of phase 2, if you will, which is going back to normal way that we read order flow. Go with aggressiveness. So if they can't squeeze out these aggressive participants, then typically, and I think this was the case that someone pointed out in the chat today, the buyers just kept trying and they kept trying. And guess what? If you're going to see people just keep trying and keep trying and keep trying, eventually they will overcome the passive participants that are in their way. And so we want to go with strength. If we don't, in some reasonable period of time, or essentially I like to view it in kind of rotations, see the aggressive participants who got trapped, if we don't see them squeezed, we go back to essentially ignoring the absorption, if you will, and going with the continued aggression. Those are the phases that, the way that I use the progression of identifying absorption, shifting the view, and then going back to normalcy. Now, it seems like we just spent a whole lot of time going through this, guys. The amount of times that I apply that to my trading are very infrequent. So let's go on. You can watch the recording for further clarification. Let's get into what we want to talk about today. The meat of it, the real stuff. We're going to talk about entries, timing. We're going to then move. Let's go back to the table of contents real quick. So all of this is done, and today we are going to be on 7 and 8. Tomorrow we are going to do 9 and 10. Friday we will wrap it up. Entries and timing, trade management, and risk. What's better than that, right? That's the real stuff. Let's get into it. A little quote here from a really good trader. I always say that you could publish my trading rules in the newspaper and no one would follow them. Sometimes I feel that way about teaching Nadro. The key is consistency and discipline. The right entry, and this is the key part of this quote that I wanted to bring to you today. The right entry often only pays off when the discipline to wait and execute is applied. There are, to give you a merit quote here now, there are 150 entries available per day and 10 good ones, right? I think we all know that to be true. So we're going to do a quick platform revisit, make sure that, it's what's in the accelerator guide, but I think sometimes seeing it and talking about it and these kind of things are very beneficial. So we're going to revisit that, and then we're going to introduce what we call DBA. And those of you who are already Nadro students, don't go take a break during that, because the way that we use it in the scalping world here is not really the same, right? We're going to talk about timing briefly, and then we're going to talk in depth about entries, the moment you've all been waiting for. So I do hope that you guys have been practicing. We put out some really specific stuff, some what I thought was fantastic stuff in that accelerator guide. Hopefully you listen to me, you are practicing, you are developing skills with proficiency with hotkeys and things like that. Look, if you want to use the mouse, I'm not saying it can't be done, but I've got a lot of experience to say that some of this other stuff is superior. So real quick, we'll make sure we are in sim mode. We are, and we will also know that when we bring up, let's just bring up a trade window. This little C right here makes it compact if you're trying to save some space. The main one is what gives you these additional options down here for send attached orders and whatnot that we talked about in the accelerator guide. We will need to turn chart trade mode on. Okay, get an indication of that up here, as well as what size we're set on. We'll need to make sure that, I think I may have forgot this in the accelerator guide. I'm not sure. No, I don't think I forgot. Trading keyboard shortcuts are enabled. That's got to be checked. We can turn on show order fills. We can turn on, typically when you turn chart trade mode on, it automatically turns on show orders and position. So that's really it to be set up and good to go. One note about hotkeys is that you either need the active window to be on the let's take it. Let me just show you in a different way. Where's this scratch board? There we go. So I have this 800 volume chart. Which is what this trade window is attached to. And I have this scratch board chart. Now, depending on what window or chart trade window you have highlighted, that's where the hotkeys are going. Okay, So if we pulled up a trade window for this chart, they're not the same. Now there are linking, you can set up linking to where they will be the same, but just for instance, I'm gonna use a hotkey to set the quantity to 3 on this chart that we're actually going to be working on. So I just pressed Control numpad 3, as you can see, a quantity of 3, and it indicates it up here. That did not happen over here. So if I have the mouse on another chart that has chart trading on or whatever, typically people don't really need a bunch of charts with chart trading on and stuff. You pretty much just need one. So the point is you have to have the window or the chart trade window connected to the chart of interest clicked. It has to be the active, selected, highlighted window for the hotkeys to be routed to where you think they're getting routed to. For example, if we didn't have any chart trading on this chart, I just use hotkeys to turn that off. And we come in here and we try to change our size. It's not going to do anything. It's just probably inputting that as maybe text, getting ready to maybe, change the symbol or whatever. It's not going to do anything. But if I have this one selected and I press Control 1, it changes that quantity. Trade 1, quantity 1. So it's important you understand that dynamic whenever you're getting ready to trade. What I like to do is I have a little place where I put the mouse. I like to select the window, and then I like to put my mouse right here in this little open space. I think it's important that charts lock fill space. I think it's important that you have some fill space. So now if we start moving this chart, it maintains that fill space. If we're not at the hard right edge of this Sierra chart, this little box down here turns red. When I press end or Control ends to do it to all charts, it turns whatever that you have set as kind of the normal color there. I made mine kind of gray to just dissolve into everything else, but turn red if I'm not looking at the real hard right edge. So I like to actually have my mouse in a spot where I'm stalking a trade. If I look over at email or Discord or Trader Risk Dashboard, all these things on my monitors here, I can come back and I know if that mouse was left right there, it's going to be a pretty random incident. If it's accidentally left there, it's really pretty much not going to happen. If that mouse is there, I know I'm good to go on my hotkeys. It's a nice little visual indication, because otherwise I'm getting real nervous and I'm doing stuff like this and putting it back there and then put my hands back on the keyboard to make sure I'm ready to go. What's the use of hotkey speed if you haven't preemptively set the workspace to handle the hotkeys, right? Real quick, let's say we were getting short 2 contracts, Control 2, Control minus, shorted 2 contracts. I did just want to show some of the let's say that we need to get our stop in place. I can turn on, and by clicking, have the global crosshair, not global crosshair, the crosshair. And let's say I wanted to put my stop right here, buy stop. I know the quantity's correct. I can double check it. It's 2. If it's wrong, I can click that 2 and change it. I could manually type in a different price to move it to. If we did need to move it, how I do it is like this. Just click and drag. Okay. Let's say we wanted just theoretically wanted to put some targets in place. Let's stay in this position real quick. I'm going to make a mistake here for you, just so you maybe think about it before you make the mistake. All right, I want the target to buy here. What am I going to do? Well, we are short, so I need to put in a buy limit. Great. And I also want to, if we get down here, also buy there. What mistake did I make? What horrible mistake has been made? There's 2 of them. Number 1, both. You got them both. Perfect. These are not attached orders, which is okay at times for if you're going to be sitting in front of the screen and whatnot. You do risk maybe power outage, internet outage, leaving you exposed. So it's not a best practice, but that's definitely a mistake. And so just so you guys understand, if targets start getting hit and then we reverse prior to getting flat with, or whatever, um, then your what used to be stop to get you out is now going to get you in for that amount. And the other mistake that we made here is we didn't change our quantities for exits. We are short 2 contracts. We have a stop for 2, and then I didn't change my quantity as I came in and set those. Okay, so I could come in here and individually say, oh, change it to 1. Oh, change it to 1. Sierra, you are killing me. You gotta quit. What? Really upsetting. And I just recently updated and it changed this for this course here. Horrible, horrible. That I will make them fix this. When you click this, I don't want to come over here and be clicking more of this to change to 11 lots or whatever. I want to click this. This should be selected just like that, just like it used to be, so that I can change it and then press enter, right? And make that happen. I don't need